Hello viewers, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for joining us. A happy Wednesday to you. You're watching 284 Media. The Mental Health Unit, in collaboration with Harney, Westwood and Regals, will be hosting the Anti-Stigma Masquerade Gala and a fundraiser. It's an exciting event that really chronicles our need for support to mental health issues in the territory. And I'm today joined by the Director of the Community Mental Health Unit, Dr. Virginia Rubaine, who's going to help us put this event into perspective. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Catch the game on CCT Live. To sign up, go to cctbvi.com or call our call center at 444-4444.
That's out. That's 6. That's out.
With worldwide medical coverage and affordable premiums, we're like a home match that isn't played at your actual home. CG Insurance. Good like that.
My turn. Oh, come on, guys.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. I'm Ron Grant, and you're watching 284 Media. As promised, I'm joined by the lovely Dr. Virginia Rubaine. Dr. Rubaine, welcome back to our studios. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Ron.
It is always a pleasure. Now, of course, as I mentioned to the audience, the Anti-Stigma Masquerade Gala and Fundraiser is an upcoming event that will be hosted alongside the Mental Health Unit, but some other partners as well. Tell us about this event as well as who the contributing partners are.
Of course. So on February 25th of this year, we'll be hosting our Anti-Stigma Gala. So I have to give you some background.
Sure.
So in July of 2022, Community Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services launched their first anti-stigma campaign. And the campaign is centered around attitudes and behaviors that make it challenging for persons with mental disorders to function as a whole person in our community. Some of these attitudes and behaviors are institutionalized. Some of them happen in our everyday. But through the auspices of Public Health England, we were able to partner with Mind UK to design a unique program for the Virgin Islands, and we launched it in July. So over the next 12 months, we're going to have a series of activities that not only educate persons in the community about these latent attitudes that influence their behaviors, but we're also going to be giving the persons that are partnering with us, we call them our champions.
Awesome.
And our champions are persons with lived experience. We're going to give them the platform to share with the community what it's like for them living with a mental disorder and what persons in the community could do to support them rather than hamper them. So our first signature event, we're going to be having a Masquerade Gala at the Governor's House, and he has so graciously agreed to partner with us. It is being funded by Harney's as well as Unite BVI.
Beautiful.
So Unite BVI has provided 100% funding for the duration of the campaign over the next 12 months, and we're ecstatic.
That is incredible.
It is. We're ecstatic that they see the value in what the campaign is going to bring to the community. So we have a whole slate of activities, but we want the community to focus on this particular one. So we had the brainchild. We know that Black Panther came out,
of course,
last November, and we lost Chadwick Boseman, who was absolutely a wonderful human being, actor, and humanitarian. And so we wanted to have a gala that celebrated his contribution to the world, but also that gives us an opportunity to celebrate where we came from and
Yes.
our ancestors. So it's Wakanda formal. So we're asking the ladies and the gentlemen to come out in their finest African wear.
Amazing.
And African wear can be worn by anybody. And we are hosting this gala not only to raise awareness about stigma and discrimination, but we also want to honor a former Harney's partner by the name of John Matthew Coolshaw, who died in 2018. And so we're starting our first annual scholarship fund in his name. So we're going to be having a silent auction, and the proceeds from that auction will fund scholarships for 2 deserving students who are studying at H. Laverty-Style Community College in the area of human services. And if they want to go off and study in any mental health related field and they qualify, we're going to present them with financial assistance.
That is totally amazing. And I want to pause there because, of course, we're going to get into who exactly was Mr. Coulshar. But you mentioned something about the champions, and I want to go back to that. How important is it for us to hear from the champions, the persons who have lived with or are still living with mental health disorders, in order for us to mitigate the still high level of existing stigma that surrounds our community?
I think it's important to hear from real life voices because we often have these rigid ideas of what somebody with a mental health disorder looks like. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, a chief justice, a environmental health worker. It doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. And so seeing persons who are here in our community interact with us on a day-to-day basis, but we have no idea that they are struggling with or living with a mental health disorder, I think normalizes it for everybody because it can happen to anybody. In my humble opinion, I think we all have mental health challenges from time to time. Some of us just cope better than others.
One of the important factors that you raise is quite important because we somehow look for mental illnesses to look a particular way. And I think history and perhaps our most recent issues of having persons taken their own life. Of course, most recently we have Twitch, who was known to the world as the smile spreader. And because I think he masked it and wore it so well, there was no inclination at any point, unfortunately, that something may have been wrong, and he ended up taking his life. So we have to get to the point where we understand where it's not necessarily a look, there is no look, and we interact with persons on a daily basis, just like you said, and we have to have these conversations.
I think the reason that we're still engaging in attitudes and behaviors that stigmatize and discriminate against others who are different is because we're afraid. We're afraid about what's inside of ourselves that we know that we're dealing with. We're afraid of us possibly developing something. But it's 2023. Why are we still behaving from a place or acting from a place of fear?
Because we are still afraid, unfortunately.
Right. So, you know, when I never followed Twitch. I found out about him when he committed suicide. And I was so stunned because when you read all the tributes, he had everything to live for. He had everything going for him. Everything seemed fine on the outside, but clearly he was fighting something on the inside. Yeah.
So tell us about Mr. Coulshar, who is the honoree.
So the honoree was a beloved member of the Harney's family. He worked in the BVI for several years and moved to Hong Kong and was working over in Hong Kong, unfortunately, when he committed suicide. And I didn't know him personally, but when I read his remembrance book, I was just struck by what a good person he was and what a gift he was to the communities that he served in. You know, and it's just such a shame because, you know, with all the resources that are available to us here, that people still feel like there's no other option. And I think raising awareness about that is so important and celebrating his life because it was well lived.
Yes.
And so that's why we named the scholarship in his honor.
Well, I think it is incredible, not only for Harneys to want to honor him, but the community, of course, to honor him in this regard. And most importantly, it will be benefiting students through the foundation and the scholarship fund, which is amazing.
Students who are going to come back here and work. So that's a caveat. So if you know you're not coming back here,
then you
don't
should
apply
not
for my
consider.
scholarship. No.
That's true. Now, I want to be on the lookout. We have to be on the lookout for other activities, but of course, this is the signature. I'm honored to be hosting this event, and I thank you at the Mental Health Unit so much for the invitation.
Thank you for accepting.
To bringing this remarkable event. Of course, I want to talk about tickets. How can person gets tickets, and of course, do you have any recommendations for where they could find outfits?
Okay, so ticket outlets are Miamore Jewelers as well as NAMI. NAMI is located right behind Latitude 18 in town, and of course Miamore Jewelers is at the Pier Park. Tickets are $150 per person. It's going to be a magical night. Included in your ticket is your Masquerade mask, so we'll be giving you a complimentary mask, and we have all sorts of wonderful activities slated. Turning out tunes will be Virgin Islands Groove Project.
Nice.
So we're gonna have live Afro beats. I'm very excited about that, and we're also going to have authentic African cuisine. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting dressed up. It's black tie, and it's not very often we get to get uber dressed up and walk the red carpet. I particularly want to see our young people there.
Okay.
They have a lot of flash and vim and verve, and I know they'll come up with some creative ideas and be beautiful on that night. And you know, it's going to be captured by video and photography, so there's no reason not to come. February 25th, Governor's House, that's the place to be. It's going to be lit.
Awesome. And I have to ask you because, of course, the services of the community health, mental health unit is, of course, very imperative to our community. How can persons get in contact with the unit if they have any questions, concerns, and need to reach out?
So they can call the hospital main line, which is 852-7500, and ask to be transferred to the unit, or they can call 852-7683. And one of our lovely members of the team would be more than happy to assist them.
Amazing. Dr. Rubaine, I want to thank you so much. Of course, viewers, be sure to get your tickets for this Anti-Stigma Masquerade Gala and Fundraiser. It is an amazing event that will really put into perspective Wakanda, the life and legacy of Mr. Chadwick Boseman, while we as a community get to enjoy and have a beautiful time while contributing, of course, to a very worthy cause. I want to thank you so much once again, Dr. Rubaine. Do have a beautiful rest of the day, and I will see you at the gala.
See you soon, Ron.
All right, viewers, that's all the time we have. See you later. Bye-bye.